me, the healing power of the gong is its ability to resonate, and that people can feel the resonances like right away. It's so direct, it's like cosmic communication in real time. Nothing in between us and the cosmos. The gong is the connector.
The gong is a very powerful healing tool that puts great healing potential in the hands of the average person. Everything is energy, and every type of ailment exists at an energetic level. So the gong supports healing at the emotional level, at the physical level, psychologically, and spiritually.
Gongs play all the notes, man. Then when you play the gong, you're hearing all kinds of overtones, you're hearing deep subtones. It's a full spectrum sound. It's wonderful. Gongs are awesome.
Well, it works because vibrations are vibrations, and if something vibrates, it resonates with all the octaves that are stimulated from a vibration. So this is the law, or this is the principle of any vibration, that it brings movement into a environment. And if this vibration is connected or related to a certain frequency, which means how many cycles do we have in 1 second, then we can even access primordial states of existence.
The gong can really help with any chronic pain. How does it do this? Well, it's almost like if we think about Chinese medicine, acupuncture, if you've ever been to that, then we know that we have these rivers of energy that run through our body. They're called meridians. And the gong will push this energy. Sometimes people feel some discomfort even when they're lying receiving the gong, and that's natural. Not everybody does. But sometimes if there is some pain in the body, then the gong will push and push to help clear and release.
I'm a gong facilitator, and I do work with multiple groups and peoples and conferences and in sponsored tours and the like. But the gong is a messenger, a gateway, a portal, if you will, to understanding oneself and to achieving a level of physical well-being and balance and clarity.
More and more stressed in our normal day life, and Gong Baths really helps us to reduce stress, anxiety, and work better. And this is the main fact that allow the Gong Baths to reach these results, and the employees are happy, work better, and the managers are also happy too. So
I remember when I was touring in the Mediterranean at the times of the war in former Yugoslavia, and I ended up in a little town, and I gave gong meditations for soldiers, and they were very deeply affected in a negative way, because they didn't want to be soldiers, but they had to be, and they had to do things that no human wants to do. Yeah, they were soldiers, they were actually killing people, so they were carrying a huge emotional disaster in them. And then I had experiences when, with the gongs, they could transform this emotional shock they were living in. And this was probably one of the most this was a very intense realization and also a great relief, and this was it made me think a lot, but this was a very strong example of what is possible, like gong vibrations can balance, or you can cure post-traumatic stress symptoms.
Since I'm playing the gong, it's like really a guide in my life. Yeah, you get more sensitive also. You get very sensitive, a connection to your intuition, and you can use it on many, many layers, and for manifestation, visualization, research, balance, harmony, yeah.
The healing power of the gong is the vibration and the resonance.
So because we live in this field that connects us, field of energy that connects us through vibrations all over the world, I feel that in each city, if people start experimenting and attending sound sessions and gong meditations, slowly the effect will move and encompass all of humanity.
It is just recently, in our times, 1-2 generations, that the gong is considered as an instrument for healing. This is a new concept, and a lot of it speaks for it that it's not an ancient, it's a new concept.
The healing power of the gong is a transformative process that when you strike a gong, it creates a sound wave, and that sound wave makes every molecule in your body vibrate. And when it's vibrating, it releases tension, releases any physical, emotional blockages.
Our bodies are made up of 70% and more water and liquids. And when we listen to the sounds of the gongs and the other instruments, the sounds enter through every pore of our skin, and the whole body becomes like a giant ear. Water, which is a wonderful conductor for sound, takes the sound to every cell in the body that needs any kind of rest, any kind of relaxation, any kind of cleansing, clearing, restructuring, rejuvenating, and healing at a very deep cellular level.
And there's also another response, and that is the epithelial cells inside all the arteries and veins release nitric oxide. And nitric oxide causes all the muscles in your body to relax. It affects the parasympathetic nervous system, allowing increased circulation throughout the body. So all your internal organs, all your bodily systems work more effectively, leaving you feeling refreshed, rejuvenated, and renewed at all levels.
This is what happens with the gongs and the water inside of our body. So immediately frequencies and vibrations started to have an interaction with our water, and they will start to move together. So the vibrations are transported into our water, and they will go all around our body.
I find now, after 25 or 30 years of doing this, that when people come to my Gong Baths, they are they are prepared. I suggest that you not eat ahead of time, and you come receptive. And I tell people how to entrain the brain into a still point or into a quietness, so that the monkey mind, the thoughts that are racing through our minds at all times, does not get in the way, or at least that you view them as dissipating clouds in the sky.
My experience with the gong is that it supports in collecting all my sensory currents, all my scattered energies, thoughts, feelings. So as I'm playing that gong, that's the only thing I'm doing, is I'm listening to the sound of that gong.
I'll give you one example having to do with the immediacy of the moment, and it has to do with a blood infection. So a severe bloodstream infection has a very high fatality rate, and my daughter suffered from this condition. So she calls me on a Friday night at 8 p.m. She's just called the ambulance to go to the hospital. Now, 6 weeks prior, she was hospitalized for 1 month with this blood infection. They didn't know the cause of it, and all they could do was give her a variety of different types of antibiotics to keep it at bay. So they released her from the hospital and said, we know it's going to come back, and the prognosis is not good because we don't know how to treat it. So I had only been working with the gong for a very short amount of time when I got this phone call. So by the time I get to the hospital, she's seeing the doctor, and they said, come back after the weekend when we've looked at the blood cultures. So this particular hospital wasn't aware of the condition that she had before. So I said, come home with me and I'll gong you. I had no idea what was going to happen. It was the only option that I had. And when suffering with the blood infection, her arms, her thighs, and her lower back were numb, and she was in a great deal of pain and in a great panic as well, and so was I. So when I brought her back, I laid her down, and I had a very large gong and started to gong her, and I gonged for a full 45 minutes. When I finished gonging, her energy was completely calm. She said, I can feel my thighs. So the panic went away, the danger of the moment went away. So what the gong sound wave vibrations did is they took down the inflammation. And by taking down the inflammation, it actually put a halt in the moment on the infection itself and the severity of the situation. So she also said to me, she said, I almost asked you to stop after about 10 minutes because at first it felt really intense and painful and uncomfortable. She said, but then it shifted, and then it started to subside more and more and more, so that by the end of the session, the circulation with the gong sound wave vibrations actually brought the inflammation down. So this has far-reaching implications for a broad range of different types of conditions. And so it was at this point, very early on in my experience of working with the gong, that I decided to put research groups together with people with a variety of different types of ailments to see what else it could do.
Whatever diagnosis there is, the gong will be able to touch the particular person. And so far in my 35 years, I never ever came across any situation that where it was not possible to touch the person. And playing gongs helps us to understand the process that are going on. And so I really suggest to take any opportunity to have experiences in the area of diagnostical, let's say, cases. And there's no need to be afraid that, for example, some people say, well, you might trigger anything that you don't want to trigger. How do you deal with that? But from my experience, I can say that if the gongs are played nicely, people will relax and can access their potential in a beautiful way.
mental health became the #1 medical spend in 2019, before COVID. Just imagine what the statistics are now. And it's my belief that we need to just take a still point, that we just need to stop and to rest. And that is why I do what I do. My goal is to bring calmness and a sense of peace and tranquility to everyone, everywhere on earth. And I believe the gongs are the tools that can manage, that can transform humanity.
The gong affects the people on their unconscious level as well. It touches them, it goes deep into the unconscious mind. And as we know from neuroscience, the ratio between consciousness and unconsciousness is not 10:90 as we thought from Albert Einstein. It is even like 3:97, 3-part conscious, 97-part unconscious. So this is a big discrepancy. But the gong vibration balances these ratio, and so it feels as if we are present in our unconscious state of being.
Gongs will take you through different brainwave states, and so very often you will feel as if you are awake in a dream. And this is where deep mental rest occurs. Emotionally, once the chakras are cleared, the negative emotions that may be stuck, that may be blocking each chakra, begin to move and shift and fall away as well. So this is why gongs are very powerful where healings are concerned. Thank you.
So some of the unique outcomes from some of my clients include myself. I mean, I had a kidney stone dissolve in one gong bath. I've had clients with slipped discs, inoperable nerve damage to their spine, concussions, irregular heartbeats, etc. And they've all walked out of one gong bath with full recovery. I work with 3 different cancer centers in Hong Kong, and it's common for clients that have lost feeling in their arms and legs to regain full feeling, sometimes in as little as 1 gong bath and in as little as 2 weeks. My diabetic clients, it's common for them to reduce medication for up to 6 weeks after 1 gong bath. Epileptics, the same. I've had a few that have decreased medication and have not had any seizures for 2 weeks after 1 gong bath.
One of the things I really love about the gong is that even in a gong bath where, we may have anywhere between 10 people, 600 people, we don't know. But everybody's experience seems to be that they get what they need. How does this happen? I think for me personally, it's like if we look inside and what happens when we go into a very deep meditative space. We go into that space of what we can call turiya, where we go into the different levels of brain activity until we come to a very quiet space. And this is where it's like going into a very deep sleep. It's like having a mini nap during the day, a power nap. And the body rejuvenates itself because we've dropped into that state of being in that sleep state. Many people actually just fall asleep. And, I always say, well, if anybody's used to snoring, just allow that sound to be part of the evening. And afterwards, people come up and they say, I don't know, where did that time go? An hour and a half is like, time is irrelevant in this space. It's like, time does not exist when the gong is played.
I was really surprised when, for the first time, I see companies asking to health coaches or psychologists to help them in order to reduce the stress of their employees. And I just decided to propose myself and the Gong Baths to these companies. The result was really amazing because a lot of companies that are already into these healthy programs and benefits for the employees already accepted to do this test with their employees and to perform a Gong Bath and a Gong session for their employees. The results were amazing. All the employees were reduced in stress and they were more productive at work, and they smiled all together after the Gong session. They were really in another friendly situation, and it was really amazing to look into their eyes, and it was really a surprise for me and for the employee and for everything, because it was really amazing to see how much benefit they will have with just 45 minutes Gong Bath.
We've taken a blood sampling before a Gong Bath and then after a Gong Bath. Before the Gong Bath, the samplings that we took, we found that the blood was moving very slowly, somewhat congealed in lumps. The white blood cells were on the dim side, and we found that there was little bits of darkness, little like crumbs of blackness inside the cell walls themselves. After the Gong Bath, the blood was flowing independently. The cells were part of their integrity was in place. They're moving through the vessels of the veins in a much more exuberant sort of way. The white blood cells are 3 or 5 times more luminous than they were prior to that. And white blood cells, has much to do with healing.
So why do we need a gong? Well, I left the corporate sector after 28 years to establish this studio in Hong Kong. And it all started with one Gong Bath that was literally mind-blowing. I had a cosmic journey and I witnessed the Big Bang. And based on that, I completely changed my life.
If the gong waves that you are going to play, if they are synchronized with your breathing activities and slowing down, so when you want to play love, you should slow down. And as the more you slow down, the more the mind will lose its space in the head, and the more the mind can access like your heart space.
vibrations of the gongs in low frequencies and high frequencies goes in resonance with you, with your body, with your mind, with your consciousness, and opened it up for new possibilities. The gongs are tools for transformation and for consciousness development of the whole mankind. And the more people gong, the more will the earth heal. It starts very small. When one human being experience the transformation power of a gong, he will give it away to others. He because he's so excited from it. And then there are maybe 10 people who are inspired from him. And then the 10 people give this to others, to other 10. And if you calculate it, it's very fast to reach millions of people.
Have you looked in your local community? Perhaps there's somebody there playing the gong. There are millions of people playing the gong around the planet right now. And can you imagine what it would be like if more millions of people played the gong? We'd be raising the vibration of the planet. We'd be raising the vibration of humanity. There would be no more war. We would have peace in every household. Because everybody loves the gong. It's a very simple, beautiful instrument. And I encourage you to feel into where it may help in your life. And in that way, we affect everybody.
Wonderful to have the vibrations with the ambience of the city and the background, or actually it's somehow in the middle of the city, the middle of the harbor, but having nature around, it's a fantastic opportunity to experience the vibrations of the gongs.
These particular gongs are also tuned to the frequencies of the planets, surrounded on all sides by water, as well as the sky above us. So truly, we're taking the gongs, we're taking the vibrations of the gongs, and we're connecting heaven and earth to create a unique experience.
Gong Bath is actually my first experience, and it's amazing. Giving me a positive energy. Yeah, I really enjoy it.
Our gongs are becoming mainstream. They're not just for orchestras. People are coming to gongs from a sound or music background, and more people are just buying them and using them at home to transform their lives.
As a psychotherapist for over 20 years and as a gong sound healing researcher since 2015, when we have a gong in the home, it means it's available and accessible 24 hours a day to treat certain types of issues in the immediacy of the moment. So this includes issues having to do with injury or physical pain and emotional pain as well. And then there's a wide range of other types of conditions, perhaps of a more serious nature, that require daily gonging. So an important point to be aware of if you're going to buy a gong for the home is having the willingness to use it, or having other people available to do the gonging for you.
Of course, the gong is an amplifier, and whatever you project in the gong, it will be amplified. So if you know how to access the excitement of love and then you project this in the gong, then it will be amplified.
Setting an intention before a gong session is important because everything is energy and energy follows awareness. So you're actually directing yourself and programming your consciousness to support a shift. And you can take it another step further by becoming aware of any resistance that you have before going into a session. So very low vibrational energy is reflected in anger, resentment, fear, and jealousy. These are very low vibrational states. So if you're experiencing any kind of resistance, you want to get in touch with that and go into a place of surrender, that you're fully opening to receive the gong sound healing wave vibrations for optimal benefit. And there's a variety of different ways that you can approach that. And that's been a very important part of my work with the gong, is combining awareness practices to support emotional and psychological change and spiritual change, and using the gong to enhance that inner work.
We all just need to gong, because everybody is looking for happiness. And happiness arrives with the gong.
So when we gong for ourselves, we keep ourselves in balance and in a state of good health and well-being, so that when we offer the gongs and the sessions to others, they feel that space of balance from us. And this is how it multiplies, by word of mouth, and so soon all of humanity is involved with the gongs. A gong in every house is what we should be aiming for. Thank you.